Hey Dave, it's Luke from up in Michigan. I just wanted to give you a call and tell you I'm really liking the format of the new show. I can really tell that you're making some changes and doing some things a little bit different than you normally do, and I really like it. I think it's some good stuff.
The following podcast is rated D for dumb. You're listening to Dumbing It Down with Dave, the fastest podcast on earth. Listen to Dave commute to and from work on the New York State Thruway in his 2008 Kia Rio LX. He talks about pragmatism, truth, happiness, and the search for it all. Join Dave as he asks and tells you how life ought to be. And now, here's Dave.
Well, hello everybody. Clear my throat. Hello everybody. Let's do that again. How are you? Welcome to the Dumbcast. Are you ready to dumb it down? Wow. Okay. A lot more enthusiasm than I kind of expected, but you guys are there all the time. Well, thank you very much for joining me here with episode number 320 of Dumbing It Down with Dave. A little bit different than most episodes because this is, I think, the only episode I've ever done in the Kia Rio after repairing a flat tire. Not repairing it, I replaced it. I have a donut in the right rear tire. I am driving down what is called Route 9W between Coxsackie and Catskill. I'm doing, the tire says 80 kilometer warning. You can't go over 80 kilometers. So I have my hazards on. I'm all the way to the right on the white line. And I'm trying to do 80 kilometers, which is basically 48 miles an hour, something like that. You guys can do the math. But I'm looking at my speedometer. I'm trying to match it up. So, yeah, so I got a flat tire. I was coming home from work, and I was all excited to do a podcast. I was getting everything ready. Yes, while I'm driving. I should have done it before I left the job, but I didn't. I said, all right, I'm going to do a podcast now. And, by the way, thank you, Luke, for calling in. I appreciate that message. Very good. And I look forward to speaking with Luke very soon. Luke, a former host of, or maybe he's still the host of Luke Loses. But he hasn't done a podcast in a while. But maybe by the time you hear this, he would have been back up and running. Who knows? So I wish him the best. And happy Thanksgiving to everybody. If you're listening to this about November 20-something, whatever, of 2023. If you're listening to it in the year 2025, 2030, and it's August, well, I hope you had a great Thanksgiving that just passed. I hope you have a great Thanksgiving coming up. I hope your life is going well. And I'm probably dead. Who knows? You know, it's so far in the future. But yeah, so I was going on the thruway, headed south, and I felt something strange. I heard something strange. I said, oh, that's not a good sound. So I pulled over, and I think I pulled over just in time because I didn't drive too far on that tire. I might have driven far enough to destroy it. I don't know. It's not shredded. I put it in the trunk. I took out the donut. I did the thing that you're supposed to do with the feeble parts that they give you. I figured it out. I did watch a little bit of a YouTube video just to make sure. And the guy did not have a 2008 Kia Rio. He had a 2012 Kia Rio. But still, I kind of put it together. There's a little notch. Like a notch has to fit another notch. And then you put the thing in the thing. And you put the other thing in the thing. And then you spin it around. And it makes the car go up. And although the thing that goes into the other thing, if they went in there a little bit more to the center, I would have been able to spin it better. But they got the hole where the thing goes into, like to the bottom of the lug nut wrench, whatever you call it. And it was awkward. It was very awkward. Anyway, so I'm glad the car didn't fall down on me. I just pulled over after about 10 minutes before I did the podcast just to make sure the lug nuts are still on. And they seem tight. They're hand tight. I mean, I rotated them, right? I did the bottom one, then I did the left one, then I did the top one, then I did the right one, then I did the bottom one. I kept on alternating how tight, and I went tight. No, not too tight, but tight enough. And otherwise, like hand tight, but really hand tight. So I don't think they're going to come off. I'm doing 80 kilometers. And yeah, southbound on Route 9W. I am on 9W, which runs parallel with my hazards on. So if you hear the hazards, I'm sorry. Of course, you know, I have my radio voice on, and I'm from New York, from Brooklyn, so maybe you won't hear it and it won't bother you so much. I'll try to keep on talking, which is really no different from any other episode I've ever done where I keep on talking and you don't hear anything. You don't hear the wind, you don't hear anything. Anyway, so that's the story. Driving on a flat tire. I'm still going. And by the way, I just pulled over into a convenience store. The only convenience store that I know of in New York State that gives you free air is called Stewart's. And they're also known for their milk and their ice cream. So So it's called Stewart's. I don't know what you have in your area. Well, let me know what your famous chain of convenience stores are your area that can give you food, coffee, gas, and air. But this is the only one that gives you free air. Everybody else charges you, and I really hate paying. And if I was the CEO of a company that owned these convenience stores, I would say, listen, we're doing free air, because free air brings them to the parking lot. There's a lot of free air people, and while they're there, they'll get a coffee. It's a little investment I make to get people into the parking lot, because while they're there, they may have to go to the bathroom, they want to wash their hands, so they're going to go into the store. All these other places that charge you 75 cents, $1.25, $1.50. By the way, I'm also curious what they're charging in your neck of the woods. I think that's a big mistake. I think you're losing a lot of money in customers. Yes, I know it costs money to run those pumps. Yes, I know it's a parking spot. Yes, I know the equipment can malfunction. Some of these Stewart's don't have functioning air thingamajiggies, air pumps. So, somebody's got to maintain them. I like to think that there's a guy to each region that just goes around all day long just maintaining air pumps. I like to think that's true. I don't know if that's true. That'd be a great job. That's all you do is you drive around New York State and for Stewart's, and you just do the air pumps. That's it. You make sure that they're functioning. You make sure that the filter is clean, whatever. What a great job that would be. Reminds me of a job I wanted years ago when I got out of the Navy. I thought I knew a guy that owned something freeze. There's like a juicy company. Frosty Freeze or whatever it is, some company that you go and you do a slushie, Mr. Slushie or whatever it was when I was in St. Louis. And supposedly a friend of mine who was the guitarist in my band knew a guy, whatever, and we were going to get jobs getting out of the Navy that we were just going to drive around and maintain these machines. Who would want to hire ex-Navy guys to maintain your machines? We could maintain boats. We could maintain your slushie machine. Well, that job never happened. But I thought that was going to be a great job. I mean, how hard could it be to maintain slushy machines from 8 o'clock in the morning, 9 o'clock in the morning, to 3, 4, 5 in the afternoon, and then you go home? No weekend work, no holiday work. You're just doing slushy machines. That job never materialized, whatever. I think I would have been a good slushy machine mechanic. If I say so myself. I know it's a brag. I know, Dave, don't brag. Nobody likes to hear about the best slushy machine repairman stories. Nobody wants to hear that. I know that. I know I would have been the best, but I would have been up there. I would have done pretty good. Anyway, how hard could it be? So anyway, I got a flat tire. I got the donut on there. It says don't go any faster than 80 kilometers. I called the tire store. Of course, they're very busy. It's the day before Thanksgiving. So, they're packed with the people for whatever reason. And I'm going to drop it off. My wife's going to pick me up. And when they get to it, they get to it. Luckily, I got another vehicle. So I got another vehicle. Not a big deal. I got the Caravan. And when they get to it, they'll find out what's fast. But I also got a screw in the front right tire. Just now when I was going around putting air in all the tires, I have something in the front right tire. I didn't pull it out. That was almost my move. I was like, let me pull that out. No, let it stay in there. So, and I'm glad when I put air in the tire that it didn't pop it out, So, for whatever reason. And my wife had the same problem a couple of days ago. She had a rear right tire thing in her tire. All right, there you go. When I can't remember anything, I go like this. And then that makes me remember. My mother used to take a glass that you put water in, and she would turn it upside down, put it on the kitchen counter. She would think that would help her remember. She was very superstitious that way. Anyway, so there you go. That's my icebreaker. Dave Canyon, Dumbing It Down with Dave. A dumbcast and a podcast, a carcast and a podcast. Today was a little bit more of a carcast than ever because I'm telling you about my flat tire. And I talked to you about Stewart's air pumps. So the mileage, let's do the mileage report. The mileage, for those of you who are new to the show and never listened to it before, why would you do a mileage report? Nobody cares. Well, I'm doing it in a 2008 Kia Rio. And it's, it's a 15-year-old car. I've been commuting with this. The whole point of this show is, not the whole point, but one of the things about the show is I do it during my commute to and from work. So I do a show on the way into work and I do a show on the way home. So therefore, I do a lot of miles, and it's a 15-year-old car. I bought this car at 50,000 miles, and now the mileage as of right now on one donut and one soon-to-be flat tire on the front right, I hope not, is 322,970 miles. Yeah. Man, that is a lot of miles, and I'm really proud of myself for saying it right. There are some shows where I don't know how to do a number. I'm good at math, but for some reason I'll say 322,970. Like I'll say it, like I'll stumble. The number will just boggle my mind, and I won't say it right. So there you go, 322,970 miles. I bought this at 50,000 miles. What is the average lifespan of a Kia Rio? I don't know, but I bet you it's not 323,000 miles. So in 30 miles. Not during this podcast, but within 30 miles, I'll be at 323,000 even. That's a good investment. For $7,200, can't beat it. All right, anyway, and this car was on hospice at least once. This car was like almost at the end of its life, at least once. But I love it. I don't love it. I like it enough. I like it a lot. It's very pragmatic. And the subtitle of the show is Pragmatism, Truth, Happiness, and the Search for It All. So that's 4 things. I always thought it was 3 things. It's 4 things. Pragmatism, truth, happiness, and the search for it all. All right, so there we go. How you doing, everybody? Wow, what a crazy world we live in. Since my last podcast, I don't even remember what I talked about in my last podcast, but the whole Hamas thing with Israel and all this hate. Today it's Susan Sarandon's time to be hated. She's hating. They're hating her back. I really don't understand the anti-Semitism. It drives me crazy. I don't know. I don't hate anybody, right? I don't hate anybody. I don't know why anybody would hate, anybody, but they do. And it's a strange thing to hate people so much and all that other stuff. So, but you're allowed to speak your mind. So speak your mind, but just understand there are, in fact, consequences. You should take responsibility. There's a little controversy about Susan Sarandon saying what she said. Then she got dropped from her talent agency or whoever they are, UTA, whatever they're called. United Talent Agency. I don't know what they are. So they dropped her. She's actors and actresses are always unemployed until they're employed. They're unemployed. So now she's dropped. Now she doesn't have any representation. Will somebody else pick her up? I don't know. I don't know if somebody will pick her up. But the point being is that maybe she shouldn't have been fired. She has a right to speak. She'll probably sue and get money because she has a right to speak. They don't like what she said. So they fired her. You should be able to speak without fear of being fired. And I got to tell you, as a registered Republican who votes Republican and conservative, 9% of the time, and speaks, that Republican conservative language, that right-wing language, whatever, that MAGA language, I would hate it if somebody fired me, if I worked for a Democrat and they fired me, or even if I work for a Republican. Actually, now I regret saying that. It doesn't matter who I work for. If somebody said to me, hey, you can't say that. You can't say I'm voting for Trump. You can't vote. You can't have an opinion. She was having an opinion. She wasn't stating facts. She was talking about opinion. And all you have to do is go to YouTube and put in Susan Sarandon, speaks, and boom, it'll come up. So she got fired. I mean, she got let go of her talent agency. Did she get fired? I don't know. Can she get back pay? Maybe she'll sue. We'll find out. But yeah, I do agree that she shouldn't have been dropped. It's all a matter of opinion. And for anybody to really say that they know or don't know anything about Hamas and Israel and so many of these countries that are always at it, they're always at it with each other. And by the way, so here's the by the way. You ever notice that not everybody, but most of these wars, right? Most of these conflicts, wars, they're always with your neighbor, right? They're with your neighbor. Somehow, as righteous as you are as a country, as righteous as you are as a people, you go, we don't like Israel, we're Palestinians. And, well, yeah, they're your neighbor. But, these other people haven't treated you nice either, Jordan and Egypt and Libya. Believe me, I'm no historian. I've just been doing a lot of rabbit holing into this whole thing. But it's always your neighbor. Even in real life, it's your neighbor. It's not the guy across town. You would fight with the guy across town because you got into it at a parking spot or whatever. There'll be different reasons. But you have nothing against the guy across. Oh, that guy's tree is hanging over that other guy's fence. Yeah, but you're not angry at the guy whose tree is going over the other guy's fence, right? Because it's not your fence. It's not his tree, not your fence, not your yard. So you don't care. And, well, Dave, that's pretty much common sense. Of course you're going to be angry at your neighbor. I'm like, yeah, well, isn't it interesting that, the United States isn't against anybody, really. Everybody's against the United States. But, whatever, Palestine. They're not against the Chinese, right? They're not against Switzerland. They're not against any of the countries in Africa. Or it's just interesting. It's almost easy. It's like it's easy. Oh yeah, let's dislike those guys. Why? Because they're right there. That's pragmatism. I'm not in support of that. I'm saying to me that's a form of pragmatism. Who are you going to like? Well, you're not going to like a guy that it takes too much time and money to dislike. And it takes too much travel. You wouldn't travel from New York City to Buffalo to dislike a guy. You wouldn't do it. You're going to dislike somebody in your neighborhood. Preferably, the guy across the street because his Christmas decorations are too bright. I got a guy in my neighborhood, just moved in a couple years ago. Oh my God, every holiday. Woo, he's got a whole front yard like an amusement park. Every holiday, big scary Halloween, big joyful Christmas, blah, blah, blah. Whatever holiday. This guy, he spends, you see him every day out there in the yard. He's got so much free time. And somebody comes over with a trailer, like a utility trailer, and drops off props. Like he rents props. It's crazy. It's a small neighborhood. 5 people live there. There's like 10 houses. It's a small neighborhood. There's like 10 houses. And he wants people to come and post pictures on Facebook or something. I don't even know if I'm sure he doesn't listen to the show. But you know how ridiculous it is? It's ridiculous to decorate your yard and you want people to come Christmas, I don't know, does he advertise it? He doesn't charge any money, but it's a strange thing. Listen, everybody has hobbies. Dave, you podcast. You talk into a phone. And like 5 people listen to your show. And you've done 320 episodes now. And you're doing it right after a flat tire. You should be doing nothing else except concentrating on the road and being safe. So who are you to talk? Yeah, I know. You're right. I'm sorry. I'm not really sorry, but I know what you mean. You pick your battles and you pick your hobbies. You pick everything. You just pick. Anyway, so it's easy. I know Bill Maher years ago made a comment about how cowardly it is for a jet fighter to hit a button and launch a missile and it goes and explodes something. But, you're 500,000 miles, whatever. You're 10 miles above wherever you're flying at, the speed of sound. So you never actually see the people die and the screaming and the burning and the whatever. He made a comment. He got a lot of trouble for that. Not trouble, but there was a lot of controversy about him calling fighter pilots, cowardly because they hit a button, the missile goes off, and they're never there to see the kill. They're not responsible for anything. They just hit the button. So I'm going to say something, unless I already said it. I don't remember I said it. That might be equally as controversial. It's really cowardly to hate your neighbor. If you want to really, not cowardly, it's too easy. That's all I'm saying. Of course they hate the Jews. They're right there. Of course. So, there you go. Every battle I've ever known since I've been alive, it's always been like the guy next door. If you're a good historian, or even not, and you happen to know of 2 countries, I know back in the day they sailed across the Atlantic Ocean. I know that, the Spanish-American War, whatever it is, I don't know. But, back in the day, I think the United States was considered next door. Maybe not. Or the British were really upset that we were neighbors, and then we left, and then they came over to attack. All right. So that's a little bit different. They did go across the ocean. But most times, yes, the Japanese did invade Pearl Harbor. Right. So there you go. I don't even need you anymore. I figured it out. It happens. It's just rare. And nobody's attacking Canada. And Russia's right there. Right? Russia is right there across the Bering Strait. No attacks from Russia. But they went into the Ukraine. So go riddle me this, Batman. Riddle me this. If you're Russia, don't you think it'd be a lot easier just to come across the opposite direction and just attack, Canada, Alaska, as opposed to going to Ukraine? Ukraine has an army. They knew that. Alaska doesn't have an army. Yeah, they have the American army, I guess. Yeah, but, I don't know how set up Alaska is to defend itself. I don't know how set up Canada is. You think Canada is looking towards the West to see if Russia's coming? I wonder. They probably should be, right? They probably should be. Anyway, so I don't know anything. I'm just saying these are things that have come across my mind. All right, by the way, did you happen to listen to episode 319? Let's get to it. let's get to it. Get to it. That's episode 319. It's available on Spreaker and almost everywhere and anywhere you find podcasts. And then episode 318 was, and the answer is, because I answered the question, why am I taking so long in between podcasts? So that was that. And then lower the volume and stop yelling, number 317. And you do you, I do me, number 316. All right, so that's some of the other episodes. Don't forget to look for me on Facebook, Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group, and also Dave's Fit Life. And a lot of things are happening. I'm doing more of these podcasts and trying to do it faster in between, 2 a week like I set out to. But things are going to be changing a little bit here and there. Probably not after this holiday weekend, but soon enough. I'm laid off right now from work. Mark that down on your calendar if you need to know that. I'm laid off from work. So I got a lot of free time, and I hope to, on my free time, spend a lot of it getting my broadcasting stuff together, right? Things that I need to get together, figure things out, and really whiteboard my future in media and make things better. But there's a definitive announcement that I got to make pretty soon. You'll see that. You'll hear it here on Dumbing It Down with Dave, but more importantly, you will hear it on Dave's Fit Life. You will see it. I'm sorry. You will see it on Dave's Fit Life. Also, Dave's Fit Life, Dave Canyon is on TikTok. I'm on TikTok now under Dave Canyon, Twitter, X, whatever. I'm all over the place, Dumbing It Down with Dave and all that. So please look for me and don't hesitate to email me at dumbingitdownwithdave@yahoo.com and all that. I love when you engage, and definitely if you're on Spreaker, if you're not, you should be, because Spreaker is one of the very few podcast platforms that have a chat box that you could type in an immediate message as soon as you're listening. Linda does it all the time from McCall, Idaho, who's probably battling 6 feet of snow as we speak. So she's been a longtime fan. I think the only fan that's ever listened and commented on every episode, I'm pretty sure. And, she gets it done. So, so definitely type in the chat box, and I take criticisms and comments. It doesn't really matter. You don't have to kiss my butt. You can say something constructive, like, how come your sound is awful? How come we can't stop hearing that ticking sound? Because that's my hazards. My hazards are on because I'm going so slow. But now that nobody's behind me, now they're back. So I had people behind me, then they turned, and now they're back. So I'm going to put my hazards on so they know that I have a donut and I have to go slow. I can't go too fast. All right, so people are at war. They're at war with their neighbors. They hate their neighbors more than anybody. And people like their neighbors. By the way, let's also point this out. I should call the show By the Way, because I seem to talk in a way where as I'm talking, I figure things out. Then I go, oh, by the way. So by the way, I would say this, 99.9%, which is my favorite number, by the way. You guys know that. Oh, by the way, I also know I got a weather report to do. I only got like 6 minutes left. I'm going to do a weather report. The New York State Chamber of Commerce weather report is very important. I do that. People are looking forward to it. It's one of the highlights of the show, other than the mileage report, the weather report. But 99.9% of the people in the world, not just the United States, now I have no scientific basis for this. It's just my intuition. It's my pragmatism. It's my gut. It's my instinct. It's my common sense. 99.9% of people and 99.9% of countries, they get along with each other. They get along with their neighbors. You only hearing about the ones that don't because that's news, because it's bad. You understand? Most of these shows that I do, 99.9% of my shows, my favorite number, I try to bring my point back to being a human, to the human aspect of points, and we forget that 99.9% of people get along with each other, or don't even know each other, don't acknowledge each other, but they don't hate each other and they don't go to war. The world is, for the most part, believe it or not, a very peaceful place. I used to not think that. I used to think it was a horrible place and everybody's angry and the country is so divided. But that's not true. I don't think that's true at all. I have nothing to cite. I can't cite you anything. I have no statistics. But it just seems to me that if I'm your everyday average Dave, and Linda's your everyday average Linda, and Luke is your everyday average Luke, and so on and so forth, my guess is that, listen, if you have a different experience, please feel free to post something in the comment, the speaker chat box, or send me an email or tweet, or the Dumbing It Down with Dave Facebook group. But most of us get along. We get along with family. We get along with friends. We get along with coworkers. Yeah, everybody has that uncle they go, ugh. Everybody has that cousin, ugh. We have that acquaintance, ugh. Yeah, of course, Dave, who are you to talk? You've got depleters. Yes, I don't dislike my depleters. I just realized they were depleting me. So I let them go. That's not dislike. I was disappointed, but it's not dislike. And I would definitely not attack. And I have nothing bad to say about them except they are not exactly nourishing. They're depleters. They depleted me. So I let them go. Yes, I did. That is true. All right, real quickly. So, right, doesn't that make sense to you? What do you think? Right? Isn't the world, for the most part, a friendly place? Yes, we do get violent and we do stupid things. But, that is the media. Not just mainstream media. That's media. Print media, radio media, TV media, movie media. Violence sells. People want action. If violence didn't sell, I'd be famous for sitting in a rocking chair, meditating. You can get a whole town to meditate. Nobody's going to care. It'll be a 30-second blip at the end of Eyewitness News. After all the tree fires and turkey fires and all the wars and the subway stabbings and muggings and all that other stuff. At the end, you'll hear, and on the brighter, because they love to leave you happy, right? On the brighter side of the news, today in Toledo, Ohio, today in McCall, Idaho, all the residents went outside their houses and they went to the park. They went to the local park and they all meditated together for 20 minutes. Isn't that sounds peaceful? Oh, yeah, Jim, that's a great story. I should do that too. Do you meditate? No, Nancy, I never meditate, but I'd like to. Kiss your butt, kiss your butt, kiss your butt. All right, thank you for watching. Until tomorrow, good news to you. Whatever. So it's bad. You gotta have bad news. So as soon as people attack, rape, kill, shoot, burn, kidnap, right on the news. And then you want to watch this because you want to be informed. But the truth is, you don't really need to know this news. I mean, the Hamas-Israel thing, yeah, you might need to know. Nothing you can do about it, though, unless you're going to go over there and support the troops and do something, right? What are you going to do? All right. 2.5 minutes left. Thank you so much for listening. Hey, by the way, the weather report, if I had done it 27 minutes ago, I would have told you it's raining. It's raining. It's misty. It's raining. I have the wipers on. And it's not a great day in New York. It's not a bad day. It's just a rainy day. It's water falling from the sky. Another thing that we exaggerate about. Oh, it's raining. I'm so depressed. I can't do anything with water. Water's falling from the sky. And it's constant. Everywhere I go, there's water. Water. I get out of the car, there's water. I have an umbrella. I still get wet. I got my galoshes on. Galoshes. Nobody says that anymore. Do they? Do they make galoshes? So, it was a wet day, but now I'm 40 miles to the south, a half hour, a little bit less than 40 miles to the south. No rain at all. My wipers are off, and there's some breakage in the sky, but it's mostly gray. So New York State, this is a rare Dumbing It Down with Dave, where I can't tell you how sunshiny it is. It's, I can put on my sunglasses because there's that glare, that gray glare from clouds. Anyway, so those are my segments. The mileage report is a segment, I guess. And the weather report is the New York State Chamber of Commerce segment, I guess, whatever. And what else do I got? Nothing else to report to you. I am on my way home. Happy Thanksgiving, everybody. I do have, I'll try to set it up so episode 321 is the big announcement. Not big announcement like I'm going to be wealthy and rich or the podcast is going to take a big turn or big equipment I purchased, whatever. It's just going to be an announcement. But if not 321, then maybe 322. But you'll hear it and you go, oh, well, that's certainly interesting. That's something a little different. David doing something different. That's interesting. I'm curious how this is going to work out for him. Whether it's going to be. You want to take a guess? Okay, let's do it. We did it once before. I'll give you a guess. Something is different, and as far as I know, it's going to stay different, and it starts with the letter C. Does that help you? I don't know. But whatever it is, it starts with the letter C. That's the best I can tell you. All right, so thanks, guys, for tuning in. I really appreciate you. I don't have any outgoing music, but that's it. That's the end of the show. And with less than 30 minutes, that's my Dumbcast and a Carcast and a podcast. See you next episode.